Hi, folks. I'm Yetmir from Albania. Happy New Year. And as promised, welcome to a new and enhanced series of Wild Talks, a set of recordings with professional commentary feedback with the help of our friends, William from Scotland and Adrian from Romania. By the way, I encourage you to see their individual and enriching interviews on our YouTube. While there, please don't forget to subscribe. We have conceptualized these recordings where each week we pick a photographer who already has consented and agreed for his or her own photo to be reviewed from our panel. Therefore, I'll be moderating, whereas William and Adrian will take turns with their feedback on about 5 pictures selected to be commented on. Meanwhile, I'll be asking questions here and there as we like to keep this recordings about substance and to the point. I also like to mention the fact that we at Wild Europe see the initiatives we undertake and propose to our members as a way to promote learning, engagement, and emotional fulfillment through education. Meanwhile, we enrich our purpose by further educating ourselves. On these new weekly recordings, we see the constructive feedback as a form of positive input towards improvement, hence further enriching what we already love. With that said, today photographer we selected to comment on is none other but our very good friend Ilir from Albania. Ilir is the CEO of Mediterranean University of Albania, senior lecturer. He's a passionate wildlife photographer. Of course, he is an important contributor of Wild Europe, lover of good wine, as well as always open to collect and connect through meaningful collaborations such as this one. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of his pictures. Here we have the pictures. And one of the first one I like to start here is this pelican, which I know was taken in Shkodra Lake, Albania. So I'll leave it to my friends now. We'll start with William on his take.
I don't see too much wrong with that picture, actually. The point of view is perfect. There's a bit of motion blur maybe on the wing. See, it would help if we got the settings for the camera as well. You know, then you can critique. Maybe you need a faster shutter speed or whatever. But yeah, I like that. I can't see too much to critique here, apart from the out of focus part on the wing, which is probably motion blur. Maybe hard to tell without seeing the text.
All right. So what do you think, Adrian?
Okay. Mainly, I have the same problem with the focus. I don't see. I don't know. It's a problem with zoom or it's a problem of focus. But the focus is not on the eye of the bird, as I can see. It looks at is on the wings. Exactly how William says, maybe the shutter speed used, it will be the issue. Maybe a faster shutter speed will be okay. But also the posture, the moment he caught, it's perfect. But I have a small problem with the light. The light is coming from up there.
Yeah.
I think the sun is somewhere in the middle of the sky. Maybe if the light was, I don't know, he used side lighting, okay, it will render better the bird, because I really don't like the shadows from the wings on the body of the pelican.
Yeah.
So because I was there when this shot was taken, I know that that Ilya shoots with Canon 90D and one of the Sigmas 150 to 600 millimeter. How much do you think gear has to do as far as the focus point? Because you started, Adrian, with the focus. What do you think about that, gear versus right focus?
Oh, the gear matters a lot, because you know, when we are talking about focusing on a bird, in this situation, it's not a static bird. The bird is doing something. The pelican is doing something. Actually, is catching the fish. So there are some movements on 4 axes. So the quality of the focusing speed of the lens, and also the quality of the focusing system on the camera will matter in this situation.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so let's jump to the second shot. I thought about this one right here.
Yeah, that's soft. The focus, the critical focus point is never hit the bird on the head where it should be. I mean, and you can see either that, again, not seeing the text, it could be too much noise reduction, which gives a painterly look on the bird if you overdo the noise reduction.
Mm.
But I would, looking at that, I would think it'd be a low ISO. But I'm not sure because I can't see it. It'd be good to see these things. Nice flight pose. I would rather if the wings were completely up or completely down, which avoids shadow then on the body of the bird. But that's out of focus as I see it. And if a raw file is out of focus, nothing on earth will bring it into focus. You have to get your exposure and your focus spot on at the time of capture. I think maybe the feet, the trailing feet at the bottom is where the focus point is hit the bird, because they look a bit more sharper than the head area. Do you agree with that? Hmm?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think that personally, the focus is like kind of all over the place rather than in one. I like, from me seeing it, maybe seeing it from my computer. I don't know. You're seeing it on a shared computer. I'm not sure if you see it as clear as I am. I see the focus, but it's kind of like spread rather than in one, like on the eye, for example. It's
Yeah.
So what do you think, Adrian?
I want to talk a little bit about the composition. We have we have a bird in flight.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, we know the rule when we are talking about moving subject is to let space in front of the subject to increase his velocity. Okay, but sometime, for example, in this situation, I would prefer the bird to be in the upper right side of the image, and I want to explain why. The bird is in flight. Normally, the upper part of the composition put a bird in flight in a stronger position, because it's everything about perceptual. You see, now the bird is very close to the lower side of the image, so the dynamic of the bird is not so strong from my point of view. So in this case, I should break the rule regarding the space left in front of the subject, and I would cut the space in front of the subject, letting space behind the subject. This will put in a stronger position in the upper right side of the frame, your subject, and it will bring more visual dynamic. it looks like the bird is the velocity is bigger, and it'll give you the impression that everything is happened now. The bird in the next moment will disappear from your sight, you know.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's better in order to increase, to give more power, to create a stronger composition. Sometimes it's better to break the rules.
I see. Interesting. Learn the rules, break the rules.
Exactly.
What do you think works with this image? Any of you?
I quite like the composition actually, because it's always better to leave room for the bird to fly into. Yeah, leave room in front of the bird, so it's giving it room to fly into.
Normally, if the movement it wasn't from the left lower corner to the right upper corner.
Yeah.
For example, if the birds were perfectly horizontal, I agree with you, William. But in this situation, I think that when we are talking about diagonal, because it looks like that this bird just landing off.
Just took off.
Yeah, exactly. So it does not have so much dynamic in flying. That's why I would rather prefer to be in the upper right of the image, not in the lower left.
I would like to add to your comments also that I think the background works very well for me. It really brings forward the subject, and the warm colors versus the cooler colors of the water. I think that's shown. I like, to tell you the truth, I take a lot of attention to the background, because it's like the stage almost.
Yes.
I think that part it's working very well, added to all of the comments that you guys.
I have another comment on this image regarding the colors. I think that in this situation, Ilya could desaturate a little bit the green tone from the background to create more depth in the image, because in this situation, the bird will stand out better from the background. Now we have this warm color on the bird, which are nice. I like it. But also the green in that blurry background, it's strong enough to create a distraction from the bird. So in order to create, to give more substance to the image, I would slightly desaturate the green tones from the blurry background.
Yeah, I agree with reducing the green slightly. Also, personally, I would clone out the black on the right-hand side. There's a bit of posterization going on. You can see that. Can you see the posterization? Yeah. What does everyone use here for denoise? Do we all use Topaz?
I'm not sure if that tool was used in this case, but I think that usually happens on smaller images. Like if the image is large enough,
you don't get
it. It can take it. But I guess when the images are on the smaller side, and then you see that, it shows, and that's a problem. All right, very good, exciting. Let's move on to another one. This one I thought, well, this was and again, we took this together with him. It was about maybe I don't know, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. No, 3 or 4 o'clock afternoon, rather, you know. Or maybe a little bit later. In Divjaka, it's a place in Albania. Beautiful place to photograph. So go ahead, William.
Yeah, personally, I think it's just a wee bit too small in the frame, but it looks good. I like the composition. I like the position of the bird in the frame. Maybe lift the shadows a bit in the head area, Because the top of the head's a wee bit buried in amongst the back wing there, yeah.
Hmm.
There's a bit of shadow going on in the body as well. It's always better, as everyone knows, is to get the sun behind you. And
Right, right.
again, if the wings were up completely,
Mhm.
you wouldn't get the shadow, or fully down, you wouldn't get the shadow. So you should always aim for wings fully up or fully down, not all the time, but it gives a better look at the bird because there's less shadow in the bird. But it's a nice frame. Yeah.
Okay,
Still a
Adrian.
bit soft. I think it could be sharper.
Yeah, okay. Right.
Okay, from my point of view, in this situation, the bird must not be centered because we have the bird is pointed to the down left, the lower left corner. So from my point of view, first of all, the bird must be a little bit to the right.
Yeah, I understand that.
Situation, I think that we can use the rule of thirds in this situation when we have just one small bird in the frame.
Mhm.
Another problem, I think that this composition will be more suited with horizontal flip. Why? Normally, when we read the composition, a visual composition, we start from the upper left to the lower right on diagonal. This is the way the human eye will read a visual composition. In this situation, because the bird is oriented in opposite direction with the normal viewing way, we are a little bit the posture and it's opposite, and it will not emphasize the posture so much. If we'll put the image in, if we'll flip horizontal the image, you will see that also the dynamic of the flight, the posture will be emphasized, and also the idea that the bird it's looking at something. This is it looks like it will be also emphasized in the image.
So what you're saying, do you think it'd be better if it was cropped from the right-hand side?
Yes, we can crop the image. For example, we can to put in a stronger position the bird. We can crop the right part.
Yeah.
We have to cut also a little bit
Up from the left.
from the lower part of the image, exactly, and
Yeah.
also to flip image horizontally.
Interesting. Very cool. All right. Let's go for another one. I wanted to talk about this.
Now that's the thing that first struck me was the head angle.
Mm.
Yeah, it should always be slightly towards the viewer, which makes for a more appealing photograph. If the bird's looking away, it's not so appealing. Again, it's soft. I don't know if it's because it's on Facebook, but it looks quite soft here. What time of the day was that taken? Do you know?
This was early morning. I know
Yeah,
about the shot. Yes, this was very
So
early.
the sun rising behind it.
Yeah, and the color really hits that. It's like the very early shot, very early morning shot. Yeah.
I think it's too soft actually.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of detail there, fine feather detail. It could be a lot better. Sometimes you don't like to critique too much, but I'm just saying what I see is.
No, we
quite
appreciate
soft.
it. I mean, that's why we're here. You know, to
Yeah.
speak our mind, to speak our.
I like the wing position on the lower wing, but it'd be better again if the top wing was straight up instead of curved towards us, because it's creating a shadow on the wing as well. To tell you the truth, it really does need a lot done. I wouldn't keep that. That wouldn't be a keeper for me because of the head angle. I'm really into the head angle. Makes a big difference. If the bird's a few degrees towards the viewer, it makes so much difference. You might not notice it, but when you look at it, the first thing you go to is the eye of the bird, and it's looking away from us.
Yep, I hear. Yep, I understand. What do you think, Adrian?
Okay, first of all, I don't enjoy so much the birds when the birds are photographed up in the sky, because the perspective is not so strong. You know, you don't have that intimate perspective when you shoot a bird at the level of the bird's eye. You know, so sometimes, for example, when you have prey birds, it's better to choose a higher ground position, I don't know, somewhere on a hill, in order to be maybe at the same level with the bird, because otherwise when you shoot like this, you not put the subject in a strong composition. Also, in this situation, I think that the birds must be a little bit upper in the composition, of course, because it will lose dynamic. And also, again, the angle of the bird, I think that it could be a little bit lower. It's a little bit to straighten the composition. Maybe the photographer must wait for another moment to get that shot.
I think the critical focus point has been on the lower wing, near the tip. You can see the feather detail on the lower wing. Yeah, compared to the head, you can see a big difference compared to the head to the lower wing here. That's where the critical focus point is struck, on the lower wing instead of the head, which makes a big difference again. It's not easy.
Yeah. And another thing is that most of these shots are done in like field photography, walk and shoot type of thing. And it is a challenge to acquire critical focus, which is also very important. But it also, I think, in my opinion, you learn a lot from the field photography that way, because that's the hardest. When you, let's say you are in a hide or you are somewhere else, it's pretty much everything. It's already there. It's already set up for you. Yes. You're ready to shoot amazing shots by then.
What kind of camera was that one, Gemma? What kind of camera was that for this photograph?
I think it's the same. It's a D90. Was it D90? The Canon D90. And I think the Sigma again. It's the same camera and lens combo.
Nowadays, with the new camera, you would get animal eye detection, and you'd get a spot.
For our next comments, I think that will be better maybe to download on the computer the image, because maybe because we look on the Facebook the images in
absolutely.
So maybe we are not some comments about the focus or how sharp is the image are not so realistic, you know.
You can see from that image, you can see the focus point struck the lower wing.
Yes. Inside. Yes. Indeed.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I was trying to lure folks to our group. I'm kidding. But yeah, definitely, we'll absolutely go about, we'll definitely do that. I think we covered 4 photos, right? Or
yes. Yeah.
Now let's pick another one. This one I kind of liked what was happening here, so I thought we'll comment on this as well.
I think there's too much tree in that. I would crop in from the left-hand side.
Right.
And crop it about there, and maybe a wee bit from, just to make it a vertical.
Ah, okay. Mhm.
Yeah. I think the focus point here has hit the bird's head. It seems a bit more better detailed than the previous one.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would take some of that tree out. There's just too much out of focus there. I like the background, the yellow, it's quite nice. Everybody's got their own opinions and different poses and different ways the bird perches. What kind of bird is that?
The nightingale,
What is it?
nightingale, I guess, I think, yep.
Yeah.
It's somewhere, it's actually written here somewhere.
Uh,
It's the nightingale, he has it.
all right, yeah.
yeah.
I've never seen one before.
You'll see it in summer. Absolutely, yes. It's a very sweet bird, yeah. And it's common, very common. We see it very common in at Shkodra Lake, where we photograph a lot in Albania, and this is very, very common. We see it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, apart from the crop, it looks okay.
Very good. All right. What do you think, Adrian?
Regarding this image, I agree with William. I would cut 2/3 of the tree from the tree and let more negative space in front of the bird. Otherwise, I like the composition. I think the focus is where it should be, on the eye of the bird, but in this situation, the depth of field is quite shallow. So I think that I would like to see more detail on the bird. So I should increase the aperture maybe with 1 stop.
Yeah.
I don't think that will affect the background, because the background is very soft and creamy. It's obvious that the background is very far away. So increasing the aperture with 1 stop will give you a bigger depth of field and will not affect how the background looks.
Very good. Well, I'd like to thank you folks very much. As we talked about this, we want to keep them nice, short, to the point, as to share as substance as possible. And I think we achieved that today with this 5 photos. We appreciate your time, and we'll definitely meet next week with another photographer. Having said that, have a nice day and all the best.
Lovely.
Have a nice day too. All the best. Bye-bye.